Katie remained transfixed in the center of the Forrester mansion's living room, her gaze fixed on Luna's shaking body. The confession came out like a thunderclap, so fast and destructive that it felt like the breath was taken out of the room. Katie's chest rose and fell quickly, her mind unwilling to grasp the words, yet her ears continued to ring with them. "I'm pregnant," Luna murmured, her voice cracking as her eyes filled with tears that threatened to spill. But it wasn't simply the pregnancy that devastated Katie. It was the father. Her son, Will. Her baby child, whom she had raised, protected, and shielded from the chaos of the Forrester and Spencer household. The stillness stretched awkwardly between them, as Katie's face distorted with wrath and heartbreak. Before she could stop herself, she raised her hand and slapped Luna across the face. The harsh sound resonated throughout the room, and Luna gasped, her face burning and her body reeling from the impact of not only the slap, but also the reality that lay behind it. "How could you?" Katie's voice shook, thick with disbelief and rage. "How could you do this to me?" "To Will? He's only a boy, Luna. He's my son." Luna grasped her tummy instinctively, as if to protect the new life inside her. Tears flowed down her cheeks and she took a step back, her lips quivering as she struggled to find her voice. "I did not intend for this to happen. I swear, Katie, I didn't. Will and I didn't plan this. It wasn't supposed to be this way." Katie shook her head vigorously, as if to dismiss Luna's comments. She could barely hear them over the roar in her ears. "It wasn't supposed to be like this. You were told to stay away from him. You knew he was defenseless and young, yet you still..." Her voice faltered, and she clasped her trembling hand to her mouth, unable to finish the statement. Will's sparkling eyes, beautiful grin, and innocence came back to her. How many times had she tucked him in at night, promising he'd be secure from the world's darkness? And now here he was, drawn into something so complicated, so life-altering, and Katie couldn't resist the suspicion that Luna was to blame. Luna shook her head and sobbed, her words coming out of desperation. "I love him, Katie. You do not comprehend. It's not as you think. He's no longer a tiny boy. He has grown, is friendly, and makes me feel protected. I did not take advantage of him, I adore him. We adore each other." Katie's chuckle was sharp, hollow, and full of surprise. "Love? Do you call this love? You're standing here pregnant with my son's child, and you consider that love? You've shattered everything, Luna. Do you know what this means for Will's future? For his life? He hasn't even begun to live yet, and you've dragged him into something that will eternally alter him." The weight of her words slammed into Luna's chest, heavier than the tears streaming down her cheeks. She wanted to explain, to show Katie that what she and Will had was not a foolish affair. But how could she explain the snatched moments, the whispered promises, and Will's gaze as if she were the center of his world? Katie interpreted these feelings as betrayal. For Luna they meant everything. Katie turned away and paced the room like a caged leopard, her fists clenched. She wanted to shout, hurl something, and shake Luna until the truth crumbled and everything turned into a terrible misunderstanding. But the reality was there, strong and clear. Luna was pregnant, and Will was the father. Finally, Katie turned around, her eyes burning with intensity like Luna had never seen before. "You should leave. Right now. Get out of this house, out of my sight, and away from Will. Do you hear me? Stay away from him." Luna's heart broke at the words. "Please do not do this. Do not push me away. I do not want to hurt you, Katie. I never intended to injure anyone. I simply want to love him." Katie's tears flowed freely now, but they did not soften her tone. "If you loved him, you would not have done this. You would never have put him in this situation. You have wrecked him, Luna. You've damaged us all." The sound of the front door opening startled them both, and Will entered, his demeanor altering as he detected the tension in the air. "What is going on?" he inquired carefully, his gaze shifting between his mother's tear-stained face and Luna's collapsing figure. Katie's chest clenched at seeing him. In her view, he was still her little son, albeit taller and stronger. How could she inform him? How could she demolish his world in the same manner that hers had been shattered? Luna whispered his name, her voice breaking. "Will." Will frowned in perplexity. "What happened? Mother, why are you crying? Luna, what is wrong?" Katie's voice trembled when she glanced at him. "Tell him, Luna. Tell him what you've just told me. Tell him the truth. Luna's entire body trembled. She had thought she was prepared for this moment, but now that Will was standing there, and his mother's rage hung in the air, the words stuck in her throat. She looked at Katie, then back at Will, her hands reflexively going over her stomach once more. I'm pregnant, she said quietly, hardly audible. And it's yours. Will froze, his mouth hanging open and his entire face losing color. He looked from Luna to his mother, then back again, as if expecting someone to laugh and tell him it was all a terrible joke. However, no laughter occurred. Only quiet, dense and stifling. Katie moved forward, her hand grasping his arm. Do you see now, Will? Do you see what she has done? You are too young for this. You are not ready for this level of responsibility. No. She has trapped you. Luna shouted, taking a step closer. That is not true. Will, please do not listen to her. I did not trap you. This is not a strategy or a trick. This is us. This is what we made together. I adore you, and I want this kid because it is a part of you. Will's mind spun. He couldn't take it all in at once. The prospect of becoming a parent, his mother's expression of betrayal, Luna's desperate cry. His hands shook as he moved away from Katie, and his voice was barely steady. I need time to think. I can't, this is too much. Katie's heart bled again as she saw her son withdraw into himself, his shoulders drooping with the weight of a future he had not chosen. She turned on Luna again, her voice a bitter whisper. You have devastated him. Do you get that? You've snatched his childhood, freedom and life. All for what? Because you couldn't restrain yourself? Luna sobbed, her knees buckling as she collapsed into the nearest chair. I didn't want this to turn out like this. But I don't regret it, Katie. I have no regrets about loving him. And I'm not going to regret having this baby. No matter what you say, this child is a part of Will. And I'll do everything I can to protect it. Katie's chest heaved as she struggled to breathe through her rage. She wanted to lash out again, scream until her voice broke. But beneath the rage there was fear. Fear about Will's future. I am afraid for the baby. Fear that this was only the start of a storm that would break them all apart. Katie sat alone in the shadowy living room for hours after Luna had departed in tears, and Will had shut himself in his room. The smack she had gave Luna replayed in her memory, her hand still hurting with the weight of everything unspoken. She pushed her palms against her face, quietly sobbing, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. Because no matter how much she wished she could go back in time, the truth remained. Luna was pregnant with Will's child. There was no getting around what that meant for all of them. Katie promised herself that she would fight. Fight to secure her son's future. Fight to protect him, even if it meant facing Luna with all her strength. Because in the end she was Will's mother, and she would not allow anyone, including Luna, to take him away from the life he deserved. But a darker truth lurked in the back of her mind. Families have been broken apart before. Love has previously shattered people's lives. And now, as the storm raged around them, Katie couldn't help but wonder if the bold and the beautiful world she knew was about to witness one of its most catastrophic fights yet. Bill Spencer had never been taken off guard like this. He sat in his office watching at Katie, who had approached him pallid and trembling. Her voice cracked as she said the words again, each one cutting worse than the last. Luna was pregnant and Will was the father. For a while, Bill believed he had misheard. Will. His Will. He had watched the lad grow from a bright-eyed child to a young man with limitless promise. The stillness between them was terrible until Bill eventually got up from his chair and paced like a caged beast. His jaw tensed and hands clenched. No. This is not occurring. You're telling me that my son, our son, is about to become a father? With Luna? Katie, this must be a mistake. Tell me she is lying. Tell me this isn't real. Katie shook her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. Bill, I wanted it to be a lie too. I wanted it to be anything other than the truth. But I could see it in her eyes. She admitted this to me. I believe her. She's carrying Will's baby, Bill said, his chest heaving with wrath. He slammed his fist against his desk, the sound echoing around the room. That girl, she has ruined everything. Will isn't prepared for this. He has a bright future ahead of him, but she's holding him back. Katie flinched as she heard her own words reflected back to her. She had said the same thing to Luna, but even now she questioned whether it was fair. The recollection of Luna's emotional declaration that she loved Will tormented her. But Katie shoved it aside, clutching her rage as the only thing keeping her together. We need to protect him, Bill. We cannot let this derail his future. He's too young and vulnerable. He has no idea what he's doing. Bill turned away, his gaze steely and distant as he looked out the window. His mind raced over every option, every technique to influence the situation. He had established empires, vanquished adversaries, and fought for all he valued, but this was his son. This was different. This was personal. If Luna expects to raise a Spencer heir, she's in for a surprise. I'll handle it, Katie. I'll make sure our baby isn't stuck with a mistake for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, at Forrester Creations, Luna sat alone in one of the design studios, her hands quivering as she scribbled designs on a sketchpad she couldn't concentrate on. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Katie's rage, felt the sting of that slap, and heard words that stabbed like razors. She pushed her hand to her stomach and whispered to herself, "I'll protect you. No matter what." Ridge entered, noticing her anxiety right away. "Luna? What's happening? You appear to have been through a war," Luna said, her lips quivering. She didn't want to tell him, not in this way, but she couldn't keep it in any longer. "Ridge, I'm pregnant." His brow furrowed and his body stiffened at the realization. Pregnant? His tone was guarded, but it concealed a strong edge of inquiry. Who is the father? Her quiet sufficed as a response. Ridge's eyes furrowed as the truth came. This is Will, is not it? When she nodded, his surprise turned to frustration. He drew a hand across his face, cursing under his breath. My God, Luna, do you know what you did? Katie will be devastated. Bill is going to lose his mind. This isn't simply a minor issue. It's a bomb that might destroy everything. Luna's tears flowed freely. I love Ridge. I didn't want for this to happen, but I can't say I don't want this baby. I can't pretend I don't desire a future with him. Ridge groaned deeply, his loyalty torn. He cared about Luna, but his relationship with Katie and Bill made it impossible. He was aware of the impending storm and realized there was no way to avoid it. When Brooke heard the news, she reacted quickly and protectively. Later that evening, she cornered Luna with keen, unwavering blue eyes. I am not sure what you were thinking, Luna, but Will is Katie's son. He's only beginning his life. You should have known better. Luna urged her to understand. Please, Brooke. I love him. This is not a game. I want to be with him. I want us to raise this baby together. Brooke's face softened somewhat, but her voice remained firm. You may believe that now, but love does not erase reality. Will isn't ready to become a father. Katie will never accept this. And the reality is that Bill Spencer will fight you with everything he has. Luna's stomach churned in horror, but she stood firm. Then I will fight too. I'm not going to give up on this baby. The following evening, Bill arrived at Forrester with fire in his eyes. His voice rang out as he stormed into Luna's workspace. You and I are going to have a little talk. Luna stood, her body shivering but her chin raised proudly. If this is about the baby. Damn right. It is about the baby. Bill snapped, his face contorted with rage. Do you think you can just walk into my son's life, mess with his mind and then drop this bomb? Let me be clear. You will not wreck Will's future. I will not allow it. Luna's eyes widened, but she stood firm. I did not ruin anything. Will and I love each other. This is not an accident I'm fleeing from. I am going to have this baby no matter what you or Katie say. You can't stop me. Bill tightened his jaw and spoke quietly and threateningly. Don't test me, Luna. You have no idea how capable I am when it comes to protecting my family. At that point, Will emerged in the doorway, his face pallid but determined. Dad. Stop, Bill said, his wrath giving way to bewilderment. Will, son, you have no idea what you're saying. She's trapped you. No, Will said forcefully. She did not trap me. This was also my choice. I adore Luna and will always support her. I'm standing by our baby. The room was silent as Bill's world shifted. His son, the youngster he'd trained to be strong, independent and sharp, was glaring at him with a man's intensity. Bill knew that he couldn't win this conflict with force. Katie, who had followed closely behind, covered her lips with shock. Her heart wrenched when she saw her son standing by Luna, his arm protectively around her. Tears welled in her eyes as she realized Will was no longer her little boy. He was a man making decisions she could not control. The battle lines were drawn. Katie and Bill were on one side, desperate to keep their kid safe from a destiny they felt would harm him. On the other hand, Luna and Will cling to their love and the kid that brought them together. The Forresters and Logan stood in the middle, forced to choose sides in a battle that threatened heartache, betrayal, and ramifications they could not foresee. What began as a simple slap had now escalated into a family quarrel that would affect every aspect of their life. The bold and the beautiful world has seen scandals before, but this one had the potential to ruin families, destroy alliances, and push the boundaries of love itself.